people keep asking through the months, are there pyramids in heaven? Have you seen pyramids in heaven? Like, or is that, because some people think, well, it's a demonic structure on earth or something. I was just curious if you've seen that in heaven. Or they
I
are.
will assure everybody out there listening, Satan can think of nothing on his own to create. Satan is not a creator. He is a copycat. And I don't like that word being used in there, but he's a copycat. And you have to remember, he lived in eternity before the earth was made. When God first made him, he made Lucifer to be in charge of all the worship. So much so, he put instruments in his very being. He put beautiful gemstones on him, and he would reflect the rainbow of God as he led worship. And he loved doing that. He was so excited about doing that for him. He loved God. And so that was his job. He was anointed to do that. So that means he saw every image that God had, everything, every kind of image that was in the throne room, anywhere around heaven. He knew all of them. He takes them and makes them on the earth, or he has people make them, and he defiles them. He does it to insult God. He thinks, I'll take something that's precious or holy and I'll make it wicked. He didn't think of anything new. He just defiled things that those images are gods. And I may shock a lot of people, but it's about time you got shocked. That whole pyramid thing, that image like this, number one, that's the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. True. That is an image of who they are, but it's not just an image of who they are. It's an image of the throne of God.
Really?
Yes, it is. And that's why Satan likes to pervert it everywhere. The Illuminati thing, the eye thing, that belongs to God himself. Eyes are all over in heaven. Why do you think they're in the wings of the angels? Go read Revelation 4 and find that out. They have eyes in their wings, eyes in their bodies. I've literally seen them in person. There's eyes everywhere on images, on clothing, in buildings, in heaven. That is a God thing. And Satan stole it and made it into these perverted societies, perverted clubs, or whatever you want to call them, institutions or whatever. None of those images ever belonged to Satan. So he takes what is God's and puts it on things that are his, and he says, these are mine. There'll come a day when he will have no image left because he'll be burning in the lake of fire. And I actually do have I made a CD DVD called Copycat, and I talk about in there all the things. Excuse me, this is driving me wild. I wear these because people wear they have drapings. They wear drapings and mantles and scarves, and they have prophet's robes. I call them a prophet's robe. It's a glorified, beautiful robe that they wear in heaven. And so I like to wear things that remind me of what I saw in heaven, but sometimes I don't attach them quite right. So you have to put up with that. Anyway, so Satan takes up and perverts things that are God's. Fire comes from God himself, and yet Satan uses it, saying he owns fire. There's a false fire, and he puts it on different things like hell's angels. Hello, those two things don't even go together right. But Satan takes what is God's and perverts it. The throne itself is a structure. In the throne room, and there's levels, there's platforms with columns, platforms with columns, platforms with columns, until it comes up to here. And way up here is the throne, the very throne of the living God that he sits in, and next to him sits his son. So the whole image that everybody says is Illuminati. Yeah, I laugh every time I hear it. No, before the Illuminati was around, God had his throne and he sits on it. He has one inside this massive, beautiful throne room. He has one outside, back behind it, and gemstones are embedded in these holy mountains. And he has another throne there. But that literally is the image of the throne itself. I decided, you know, it's time to tell people about it. Stop saying it belongs to the Illuminati. That group might be real, but that does not belong to them. The eyes of God are his. He put them in all of his, the host up there. Many of the hosts have them, but certainly the living creatures have eyes in their chest, in their wings. Some people have clothing when they get there. He gives you clothing that has living eyes in it. So you will realize how many things that Satan took and mocked and defiled and said, these are my images, when he has nothing. Iniquity and sin is his, that he can claim that he created.